Dr. Timothy Starr has been in full-time ministry most of his adult life. He's been a pastor, a seminary professor, and since 1994 has been with the renowned People's Church in Toronto, where he's focused his energies ministering to adults in various life stages, such as being single and being single again. Dr. Starr has compiled his years of wisdom in this book, Remarried, Happily Ever After, where he asserts that your marriage does not have to be a statistic. Dr. Starr, welcome to Full Circle.
And thanks, and I have a pacemaker, and it is bouncing. Being in the presence of four beautiful ladies.
Well, we are so happy that you were with us. And you know, we've been talking to you backstage, and we think we're going to have to keep up with you.
Yes. And your wife of 61 years is here to make sure you behave on this couch. Hazel, where is Hazel?
She's over there in the wings cheering you on. Now, Dr. Starr, I know that we all agree that God's original intent was for one man and one woman to make a covenant marriage relationship with him for life. But we know, unfortunately, it doesn't always turn out that way. Why is marriage so difficult?
To add to your point, and when you think of Genesis 1 and 2, where it says a man shall leave father and mother, cleave unto his wife, that word has in mind, man, and he'll be glued to his wife. And I like to illustrate this with two pieces of cardboard. Glue them together. Now, Melody, can you imagine what would happen if you take that glued cardboard and try to separate it? It's going to be in pieces. And that, to me, is what happens when divorce comes in. Both parts of the marriage are hurt, husband and wife. And there's no way you're going to separate them in a very easy manner.
In your book, you have a great quote about remarriage from Susan Kelly. Love and marriage may go together like a horse and carriage, but love and remarriage aren't as neatly complementary. The carriage may be so crowded that the horse has trouble pulling it.
Oh, that's a good one.
So true.
You highlight every imaginable trouble, pressure, complication, and bring in your book counsel to those who are going for a second time around.
That is not easy. Trying to get involved with a remarriage, especially when there are children. Real problem to try to blend the two families together.
You love threes. Your favorite things, Timothy, come in threes. What would you say are the three biggest challenges for those entering into a second marriage?
I think number one would have to be compatibility.
Really?
Common things, having things in common that you can agree on. I think number two would be finances. Being able to work out a budget that would be adequate and meet all the needs, and yet not hoarding the money. Can you imagine a hoarder and a miser trying to share it together? That's a problem. I think number three, the whole matter of communication. How do you communicate in marriage? You do it by word, by thought, and by looks. I often illustrate that when I watch Anne and Ron on television. The way Anne looks at her dear husband, you can tell there's a love there right away. Well, that's true in marriage, isn't there?
Yes.
And so we communicate.
It's a nice idea. I'm not sure how often it happens. But
Yeah.
And Dr. Starr, or Timothy, those, I guess, are principles for a single person as well as they go into marriage. I mean, some of these principles in your book, and you have many, are for, you know, people entering marriage, people within marriage, and then people remarrying. So a lot of these principles can go in many different...
Very true, Melody.
Yeah. Melinda.
Melinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, Melinda.
But she does love to sing. So,
So Melody fits as well.
But I mean, those are really good, practical three things that even a single person can look at as well.
And if you're going to marry, you better be the best single person you can possibly be.
you point out also that,
Maggie.
yes, you got it right, that there's about a 65% divorce rate in the remarriage. So what are the mistakes that people make that they end up
In a
divorcing
divorce.
again?
I think that they forget what happened with their first marriage, or they didn't learn from it, you know?
Or do they try to bring things from their first marriage into their second?
Or they bring things in thinking, you know, that this will work, and of course it doesn't. I think another problem in second marriage is to be able to accept differences. I've been so used to one wife, and then all new habits have come in, and there's a new routine, there are new demands, and so many little things can spoil the relationship in a second marriage.
Now, do you find that when people remarry a second time, that quite often they go into it too quickly, too soon?
I've seen people get a divorce 1 month, 6 weeks later, they go to the wedding altar. To me, you can't know a person in 6 weeks. You know?
So what should happen after someone, either through death, you know, they've lost a spouse, or through divorce, what should they do in themselves before even contemplating getting into another relationship?
To sit down and to sense, where is God leading in my life, if you're a believer? What does God want me to do? And then when you begin to look at an individual, learn all you can about that individual, their history, their background, what they've been used to. All this helps. The more information you get about a person, the better it is going to be.
Okay, 3 things. What 3 things should you discuss with your potential mate
I think
before you marry?
Very good. I would hope that you would discuss faith, that you're on the same wavelength as far as your faith is concerned. And I would hope, Maura, that you would discuss finances. Who's going to handle the money? Are we going to have separate accounts? How are we going to work this whole matter of dollars and cents?
Should there be a prenuptial agreement?
I'll come to that.
Okay.
And then I
So you said money. I thought, well,
And then I would think, you talk about the future. What are your goals for the future? What would you like to see if we marry 2 years from now? What would you expect?
that's great. That's 3 F's. Faith, family, or faith, finances, and future.
Very good.
Wow, you're quite a
Yeah.
student.
Remember that.
That's good.
But you know what? For some people, that might sound like it's, I don't know, it loses the romance. It sounds like a business deal. You know, when you're thinking about getting married, you think about the violins and the candlelight dinners and the long walks on the beach and that kind of thing. So how do you come to a balance there where you can say, you know, I love gazing into your eyes, but right now we need to gaze into the checkbook and really.
Very practical,
Just
right.
before Timothy answers that, what comes to mind is a guest who recently said, if that's what you're looking for, you're going to have to get a new partner every 2 to 3 years.
And the sad thing today is that because of the no-fault divorce,
You can.
marriage is now tentative.
Poof.
We tell men, you know, you gain your wife, don't stop courting her. Court her all through your life, because of the secular situation today in marriage.
Well, we know that marriages are under attack, absolutely, in media.
Tremendous attack, yes.
Now, with all of the years, yes.